Hello everyone, and welcome to this comprehensive training session on payroll legislation configuration. We will cover the configuration of statutory payroll rules and employee statutory details in the payroll management system from beginning to end in this session. Now let us look at the agenda for today's session. This training will cover the following major areas, including configuration screens. The specific areas are input value, component classification, balance dimension master, balance definition, component link, table structure, table values, tax setup, database functions, static DB items, formula master, and formula result. We will then move to transactional screens. This involves employee-level statutory data entry. This includes employee personal information, employee work information, statutory information, and employee-dependent information. This agenda outlines the entire journey from system configuration to employee payroll setup. Objectives are to be met. By the end of this session, you will understand the purpose of payroll legislation in India and how it ensures fair wages, tax compliance, and social security benefits. You will be able to identify statutory payroll components. These components are Provident Fund (PF), Employee State Insurance (ESI), Professional Tax, Income Tax or TDS, and Minimum Wage Rules. You will understand employee rights and entitlements, including exemptions, benefits, and statutory protections. You will learn how payroll legislation influences salary design. This includes the CTC structure, allowances, deductions, and exemptions. This will prepare you to configure payroll accurately in the system. Let us understand the payroll component configuration flow before entering data, which is the configuration sequence. To correctly set up payroll rules, the following flow is followed. You must configure input values. Then create component classification. After that, define balance dimension master. Following this, create balance definition. You should define salary elements in component definition. Then link components using component link. The next steps are to define table structure and table values, then configure tax setup. After this, create database functions and define static DB items. Finally, write formulas in Formula Master and bind outputs in Formula Result. These steps ensure that the payroll engine has all the logic required for accurate salary computation. Let us now walk through each step in detail. For input value setup, you must navigate to HR Management, General Setup, Input Value. Here we define system variables required for calculations, such as amount, pay value, percentage, and similar variables. Next, for component classification, we categorize payroll components into groups. These groups are earnings, deductions, and contributions. This helps the system apply correct categorization during payroll processing. In the balance dimension master, we define the time frame for balance calculations. These time frames are inception to date, year to date, and assignment default run. This ensures that calculations like PF or tax deductions follow the correct period logic. Balance definition defines what each balance represents. Examples of these balances are earning component balance, deduction balance, and basic salary balance. Each balance is stored and used during salary computation. Now we create individual salary components in component definition. Examples of these components are basic, HRA, PF, professional tax, and tax deduction. Each component is assigned its type, such as earning or deduction, its processing type, and its input value. Component link is the process of linking a newly created component so that it can be used further in the system. This allows for assigning or tagging the component to an employee. If payroll rules depend on slabs or ranges, we must use table structure and table values. Examples of these ranges include income tax slabs, PF limits, ESI salary ceilings, and professional tax slabs. We first create the table structure, then we fill in the table values. Database functions are reusable logic functions that the payroll engine executes during salary processing. Static DB items are constants stored in the system. These include field details, column details, and so on, from where the data will be picked. In Formula Master, all salary and statutory formulas are written. Examples of these formulas are PF equals basic multiplied by 12%, income tax rules, and ESI calculations. Formula result is where we bind the formula output so the system knows where to store the calculated values. This completes the configuration stage required before running payroll. After the system configuration is complete, we now move to entering employee-level statutory and payroll data. The process begins by entering data in the Employee Personal Information section. This is followed by filling in the employee work information. Next, the user must update the Employee Statutory Information tab, and then add the employee dependent details. Finally, configure the payroll run-related components to generate the final payroll results. This flow ensures that salary and compliance calculations such as PF, ESI, tax deduction, and professional tax can be processed correctly. Now, let's understand the flow in detail. We will begin with the first step, which is navigating to the Employee Personal Information screen. The user must navigate to Workforce Management, then to Employee Personal Information. The user should enter employee details including date of birth, marital status, nationality, location or city type, and contact information. These details impact various statutory calculations and exemptions. Next, we open the Work Information screen and update the employee work information. This includes the job, position, department, and payroll name. Also, ensure the primary checkbox is marked. These values are used by the payroll engine to compute monthly salary. Next, we go to the Component Entry Details tab to assign salary components such as earnings and deductions applicable to the employee. These components include basic, HRA, EPF employer contribution, professional tax, and tax deduction. This action creates the final salary structure for the employee. In Employee Work Information Payroll, under the Statutory tab, we record legal identifiers. Examples include PAN or income tax number, PF or UAN number, ESI number, and other statutory codes. These identifiers are required for compliance reporting and government submissions. Finally, under Employee Dependent Information, we record details about dependents such as spouse, children, and parents. We must also select the relationship type. This data may be used for income tax exemptions or benefits like medical coverage. To conclude, with both system-level payroll legislation configuration and employee-level statutory data completed, the payroll engine is now ready. This means it can calculate salary accurately, calculate employee provident fund, employee state insurance, professional tax, and tax deduction automatically. It can also generate statutory results and compliance-ready reports. That concludes this session. Attending.